They're social animals living in small colonies, each of which has its own home range. They'll eat almost anything, but are very fond of seeds. They mark their territory very thoroughly, rubbing their body scent or urine on trees and rocks, messages for other rats, perhaps warnings to strangers. This female has her nest inside a hollow tree. She's already raised one litter, but they've not yet left the nest. Acutely sensitive to sounds and vibrations, a youngster greets its returning mother. She pauses to groom. Rats are surprisingly clean creatures. One of the several colonies in the area isn't far from this pond. The brown or common rat is quite at home in water, which has misled some people into calling it a water rat. But that's the folk name for the native water vole. The animal's also called the Norway rat, but it didn't come from there. More likely its origin was Asia. It arrived in Britain in the 1720s and was quick to exploit the riches of the new countryside. This moorhen's egg was one of the brood that failed to hatch. Fair game for a scavenger, but still a challenging problem to get the teeth into. He certainly worked hard for that meal. And he's clearly not heard of the wily rat that's said to have lain on his back, clutching a chicken's egg, while a companion dragged him home by the tail. That's just one of the fables that are the fruit of the long rivalry between man and the rats that plunder his castle. The wild rat seems almost domesticated. Unintentionally, we've encouraged this very adaptable creature. The rat is only a plague of civilization. Our distant ancestors were probably unaware of it. A rat's nose tells all. Its eyesight isn't very good. If there's a chink in our armor, they'll sniff their way in. And if the pickings are regular, they'll move to a basement in town to cut the travelling time. But it's brain power that's led to a large part of the rat's success. The ability to learn new techniques quickly and to exploit whatever new opportunity we provide. And it's that mental agility that has led us to exploit the rat in our quest to learn more about the mechanism of the mind. This laboratory rat has been trained to get its food by operating a kind of cash economy. It goes to the bank, and by pushing a lever causes the cash to be dispensed, the ball bearing. But at the vending machine, no food pellets will be delivered until the money is in the slot, the ball down the hole. The pattern is a more elaborate form of its wild behaviour, where it just gets food and eats it. In the wild, it wouldn't have to part with what it's found in order to get other food. Such experiments are revising our knowledge of the laws of learning and conditioning, stimulus and response. Although such antics shouldn't be compared too freely with our own behaviour, the rat continues to be a favourite tool of science. And yes, it's exactly the same common rat, but flying under different colours. It's one of the laboratory-bred strains called the hooded rat. Sleeping, grooming, feeding. Perhaps for rat haters, the laboratory rat is less disturbing to watch. One root of our horror of rats, it's said, is a dislike of their naked tails. Another, perhaps, is their ability to breed rapidly. Only 3 weeks after mating, a female gives birth to a litter of between 7 and 12 pups and can mate again immediately. The youngsters will mature in 11 weeks, and one calculation showed that, excluding accidental death or shortage of food or space, a single mated pair would produce in 1 year about 15,000 rats. In the wild, the figure would be more like 100 or 200, but even that can lead to some alarming infestations. In the laboratory, it makes for a good supply.